And you're watching ZTV on the Higher Learning Network. Put your hand back.
Hi, and welcome to the Higher Learning Network. I am your host, Elena Vasquez. Today's show is sponsored by iTex, the leader in barter and trade for today's businesses, so you don't have to pay cash for your business or personal expenses. Also sponsored by Higher Learning Network, home of how to make your money mystery shopping, as well as personal shopping surveys. Okay. Today's show is in memory of author, poet, actress, film director, Dr. Maya Angelou. She walked with Dr. Martin Luther King. She also starred in films such as Tyler Perry's Medea's Family Reunion. She starred in The Cosby Show, and she also has a book, A Glorious Celebration, by Oprah Winfrey. Stay tuned for our website launch party with Productive Edge. In honor of new website launch of higherlearningnetwork.org, we are giving away free membership to the first 50 subscribers. Log on now to higherlearningnetwork.org. After you subscribe, log on to facebook.com/HLN TV show. Here are questions for you to answer on Facebook. What did you like most about today's TV show? What inspires you most? I'll give you a couple seconds. What gives you road rage? Facebook.com/HLN TV show. Don't forget to tweet your answers as well on Twitter. Hashtag HLN, NFP, all lowercase. Now my first guest is Productive Edge, the team which redesigned the Higher Learning Network. This is the purpose why we are here on the Higher Learning Network. So tell me a little something about yourself.
Well, my name is Meryl, and I'm a business analyst at Productive Edge, which means I work with both clients and developers to realize a website.
And Lizo, is it?
That's right.
Tell me a little bit of something about yourself as well.
Sure. So I'm a graphic designer, and my role is to lead a group of creative front-end developers who actually take a concept from design and implement it as a functional site.
Interesting, interesting. And working with the redesign of the website, what challenges did you overcome?
Well, I would say the first one, considering it was an overnight challenge, was just staying awake for 24 hours.
Wow, amazing. And working with your crew, yourself as an individual, would you have done anything different?
Different, I'm not sure. I would have, building a great website takes time. It's important to be able to iterate over your ideas to make sure your message is clear. So I would have loved more than 24 hours to continue to make sure that we had the best message possible.
Yes.
But I think maybe in details, it might have been better if we started our content strategy a little bit earlier. We would have loved to be writing that content for the site as soon as possible.
Right, right. So that more details were more down in perspective, correct?
Yeah, and we had a really good team. I mean, we had representation from pretty much every department. So I think people worked really hard around the clock to realize the redesign. And I think everybody sort of played a role, irrespective of whether or not that's their current role. Everybody really pitched in to make the website an actual realization within that time frame.
Correct, yes. And collaboration, I believe, and your name is?
I'm Reed. I'm one of Liesel's developers, actually.
And so you've helped develop the website?
Yes, definitely.
Okay, tell me a little bit more about yourself.
I'm a front-end developer. I do mostly UI work. Anything that moves on a website is generally what somebody in my role would do.
Awesome. Without you, it can't be done, correct?
I like to think so.
Oh, good. And yourself, your name is?
Sure. My name is Peter Ramba, and I'm a what's called a back-end developer. If you think of a website as a house, I would be the guy who creates like the foundation and puts up the walls.
Oh, very important. Without the foundation, there's no house. And yourself?
I'm Brian Story. I'm also a front-end developer, and if we're going to go with the house analogy, then I would be the painter.
Okay.
And my name's Steve Black, and I'm the project manager. So I was kind of tasked with helping to coordinate all of the work that was happening and ensure that we had a clear understanding of what we were trying to build and ensure that all of the tasks to do that were accomplished. So.
Okay, well, as I know, the Higher Learning Network, they are very pleased with your work, and we so much appreciate what you've done for us. And we have to give thanks to Deborah Peterson, she's the executive director, and also Zelda Robinson-Hogues, she's the marketing director, and she actually was the person who submitted for the application, so I really applaud you guys on that.
Thank you.
Thank you.
On behalf of the Higher Learning Network, we'd like to give you a gift for all of your hard work. Thank you.
Take one out, give it to everybody. Take one of everything.
Thank
Oh,
you.
thank
you,
you.
Meryl. Thank you, Lisa.
Thank you so much.
Open it up and see what's inside.
Thank you, Reed. Peter.
Oh, great.
Oh, wow.
Brian. Steve. Thank you.
Thank you.
Now, with the gifts we've given you, we gave you a book, and this book is from the Higher Learning Network, but it's especially from Zelda Robinson-Hogues. So if you can, look at it, read a page a day. They're inspirational quotes, and hope you enjoy.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Jeez, this is hard.
Hi, we're Productive Edge.
The team that redesigned the Higher Learning Network website.
And you're watching the Higher Learning Network TV show.
We'll launch the website in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
My name is Gloria, and you're watching Higher Learning Network TV show. Yay!
My name is Charity. I'm with Cake Artistry, and I do I bake, but mostly I do teaching. I teach cake decorating. Wow. And I teach a lot of students now, and I just got into it, and I love it, and I hope you guys love my treats.
Ooh, let's go see some samples.
Hello, guys.
Hello.
How you doing? Hey, Jerry.
It's a confluence.
Ooh, all of that looks so good. Have you always done this all your life?
No, I haven't.
Really?
No.
What'd you do before this?
Well, I went to University of Maryland and I studied aerospace engineering. And for 5 years, right before I graduated, I had a job, my first job with Honeywell, and sent to NASA, contractor for NASA, as a mission plane for a satellite. The one that deorbited 4 years ago.
Wow.
I was programming those.
Wow.
So I was quite excited. Like, I did that.
Right.
So, yeah.
Wow, I'm excited knowing.
And then I got bored because I was like, I can't do this. I can't do, 5 to 9 every year. So I went back to grad school, did my master's for 3 years, working full time. And then I worked with another company, still contract for NASA. And then I did Orion spacecraft. That is supposed to be replacing the shuttle. And also did the shuttle shutdown. So I went to Texas and I worked with that team to shut down the Johnson shuttle program. And then then after that I got another job. I was just jumping companies trying to get the most out of it. And then I finally did SGT. And that's still NASA, and I actually was on the base. And I did, my first project there was I was a proposal writer. We wrote a proposal for NASA, and we won it, actually. And in between that, I got married 2009, and I stayed in my husband's from here, Chicago. That's why I'm here. I stayed in Maryland for 9 months, trying to find a job here, but because my whole resume is centered on NASA, so it was hard to find a job in Chicago. And after a while, I told my boss, I'm going to quit. Can you do something for me? And they said, we like your work so much, and my NASA, everybody liked my work. So they sent me here to Chicago for 2 years, and I worked from my basement. And they sent me on my laptop, and I flew back once a month. And then eventually I got pregnant with my babies, and my babies came first.
I know that's
so
right.
I told them, I wanted to quit. My husband was like, no, I didn't know how to quit with, that type of paycheck. So I was like, how do you walk away from that? So what did I do? Well, my child was sitting in my lap while I'm doing not my interview, but my meetings. And eventually it just became too cumbersome and my performance got low. And I did feel sorry that I should have done better or at least leave before it got bad. And then, they eventually laid me off after I had my second child. We worked out a plan. And that was the best thing that ever happened to me. I love taking care of my kids. That's better than rocket science. And I always said, my mom always told us, do all your best. When you have your children, they come first. And your job does not define you. So it doesn't matter if you walk on the moon. You're a mom, and that's what you are, and do the best, and and God will help you in actually doing that. My husband works for UPS as a logistic manager, so I've learned how to budget.
What's that in your hand?
These are cake. Actually, I went into the store because I had so many different hobbies. I was doing invitation cards. So I went to the store to go buy cards so I can design them. And I saw a poster saying that there is classes. And since I wanted to do my children, hands-on. I want to be the mommy that does everything.
Right.
I even want to sew their clothes, but I don't have that. I don't know that yet. So I went in there and I saw it. So I was like, okay, I'll take it. July last year. By the time I finished in November, my teacher you're doing so well. Why don't you apply to teach? So I applied for Wilton, and Wilton loved my work, and I became a teacher for Wilton at Michael's and Evergreen Park in January. So I've been teaching now, teaching everything. And the harder classes that Wilton doesn't offer, I teach that in my house.
Ooh.
And get more money out of it anyway.
Ooh, I know that's right.
Is that where the cakes come from?
Yes, so this is what I did. Zelda posted my my cake a couple of weeks ago, I believe in March, and I really appreciate that. And so when I found out that I had an opportunity to come and show her my appreciation, I said yes. And so I brought some cake pops, some
Our guest today is Mr. Oneal Class. Oneal,
How you doing,
I'd
sir?
like to thank you for coming on.
Okay,
Now,
yes, sir. Thank you.
Oneal is an inventor. He invented a CPR mannequin that is not only transparent, but it responds to the compressions that you give it, and it can actually teach you how to save a life. Oneal, now you've been teaching CPR. From what I understand, you have certified and recertified over 300,000 people in the state of Illinois?
Yes, sir. All in the Chicago area. Yes, sir.
Okay, that's good. And during CPR, you teach CPR classes, correct?
Yes, sir.
Daily?
Yes, sir.
Correct. All over the state?
Yes, sir.
Okay, now you've actually saved lives. Give me a little background on that during CPR, because there's a correct way to do it. And from what I understand, the old mannequin, the clear one, doesn't, I mean, the, you know, whatever color it is, it's not clear. Transmax is.
Yes,
you can't really tell if the person is alive or not. But this mannequin responds and tells you whether you're doing it right.
Yes,
so give me an example of some of the lives that you saved and how other lives could have been saved using Transmax.
Well, having a medical background and doing CPR numerous of times, before I became a CPR instructor, I was known for good chest compressions and good ventilations.
Okay.
And so I became a CPR instructor after one doctor saw me doing chest compressions on this patient. And so I had to develop something, a teaching tool that will train people and let them know that if they're compressing the chest deep enough, let them know if they have the airway open properly, giving it enough breaths, all incorporated inside the computer inside Transmax. And now people are actually learning how to do CPR properly versus the old way is kind of obsolete. And this is just training with technology, using modern technology.
Now this is so exciting, and I don't want our audience to wait any longer to see Transmax in action. Okay. So I'd like for you to stand around here, come around here.
Okay,
I'll help you with your coat. Okay. And Oneal's going to show us the proper technique. And this is very important because there are medical schools, healthcare schools, I would say even the Chicago public schools that should have a Transmax on the site.
Okay. Yes,
you know, and I'll tell you, if the military would have had Transmax, think of how many thousands of our loved ones would actually be alive today.
Okay, yes, sir. I agree.
Yeah. So can you give us a demonstration?
Okay, basically what I'm going to do is I'm going to demonstrate chest compressions and breaths.
Okay.
So if you're compressing the chest at 2 inches, the heart responds.
2 inches.
2 inches.
So when you do the compressions, you're supposed to go down 2 inches.
2 inches in order to reach the heart.
Okay.
Okay.
Now the old mannequin, you don't know. You
don't know the depth of your chest compressions.
Okay.
So because you don't get that feedback.
And that old mannequin is just one weight. Well, what if you got a person that weighs 200 pounds?
Well, what I can do, I can adjust the weight with the remote control.
Really?
Yes, sir.
So you can adjust the chest weight, the sternum.
Yes, sir.
So it feels like a person that weighs 200 down to what?
The lowest weight is 175 pounds. I didn't want to go that low.
Okay.
Lower than 175 pounds.
Okay, because when you're giving chest compressions, if you're taught on a dummy that doesn't have any kind of fluctuation with the weight on the chest, then you would just give that same kind of compressions to a person that weighs 300 pounds or a person that weighs 100 pounds, and your compressions will be ineffective,
okay,
correct?
That's correct.
Okay, go ahead.
Correct. Okay, so we got the heart lighten up. That lets the student or the practitioner know that they're compressing 2 inches. And there's a certain speed limit in which you must achieve. The chest compression rate is 100 times per minute. So if I'm compressing 2 inches and I'm compressing fast enough, so I'm going to pick up the pace. Okay, so this is basically priming the pump. So all the blood that's in the heart, it's going to start flowing where?
Into the brain.
Okay, into the brain.
So right now we see that the person is alive.
Okay.
There's oxygen in the heart and lungs.
So the more chest compressions I do.
And the brain is actually lighting up. Wow. So that means oxygen is getting to the brain.
Right, so it gives the student immediate feedback. Now when giving breaths, it's important that you pinch the nose and you want to put your mouth over the victim's nose and mouth and you want to open up the airway properly. Here it is. So the lungs should respond. So inside the nose, I put nose sensors, and there's no other mannequins that do that.
Now you invented Transmax.
Yes, sir. I invented.
You are an inventor, yes. And one of the reasons that you made a removable face piece is for the germs and.
Right. Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Yes, sir. So you can clean it. And okay. Well, he's transparent, and you get the maximum training.
Okay, I like that. Okay. I like that's all right. You get the maximum training.
Maximum
I like
training,
that.
and then what I like about Transmax is that people are actually putting more of an effort to doing CPR, because I always do a test where I have the regular mannequins in my class that, you know, the standard mannequins. And I watch people do chest compressions. And then when they get on Transmax, then you see the effort and them learning and putting the right amount of pressure when they're doing chest compressions, because they want to see their brain light up. You know, they don't, a lot of students don't want to leave class until they see their brain light up. Then they're satisfied, especially doctors. A lot of doctors that I train, they feel that they finally learned how to perform CPR right, basically getting the you know, that immediate feedback.
Now a lot of people are going to watch this show, and they're going to be contacting the Higher Learning Network, and they're going to want more information on Transmax. We're going to have schools that are going to purchase it, hospitals, different organizations that are going to want you to come out and give examples of training, you know, and doing some things with the Higher Learning Network as well. This is phenomenal, especially with the summer coming up. We got a lot of concerts, people getting heat stroke, you know, happening, you know, when it's so hot outside. What do you have planned for the future for Transmax?
Well, we're most definitely manufacturing, and we're selling units now.
Okay, so Transmax is for sale?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes, so we're selling units. It's starting to circulate more on television, in basically media. Okay, and that's good. And we're Will of God will be on Shark Tank in August.
Oh, that's right. You're going to be now. So he's going to be on Shark Tank in August. For the tryouts. Right? So let's give him a round of applause.
And then I'm already working on, like when I was saying earlier, that there has never been a upgrade. You know, we had Annie for years. Now this is Transmax. The next mannequin will be called T-Max. So I have at least 7.
You got Transmax, and the next one will be T-Max.
Right. There's about at least 7 different versions.
Upgrades.
Like when a car comes out every year, there's always a new 2014.
Right.
Next year will be the 50. I mean, this is what Transmax is all about. I'm always thinking about how I can make them better and revolutionize how we're learning CPR.
You know, that's something, what you just said, Oneal. New cars come out every year for luxury, for us to ride around and enjoy ourselves in. But saving a life, we've been driving the same model for 25 years.
Right, it's like
it's time for a new one.
The horse and buggy.
We're still in the horse and buggy stage.
The record player stage.
Now, by this being your invention, and of course you have it patented, and you have a team of attorneys, and you have engineers.
Yes, sir.
From what I understand, and they have a lab, and they create whatever you put together.
Yes, sir. As a kid, a young kid at the age of 6, I was always fascinated with technology, biology, and science. That's what I took in school. And so I was able to use the technical side and being in the medical field and put them two together. So there's hydraulics inside, and then we have a heart. Okay, there's a computer, and then we have some lungs. So that that made me come up with the idea to use both, you know, the technical side and the medical side. And I'm always fascinated with you know, gadgets. Always been fascinated with the human body. And so I just put them together. You know, and created Transmax versus the other mannequins. There's no computer inside of them there that I know of, and it's just a shell and maybe a piston inside. You know, with no visible brain. And if you look at Transmax, he is very universal. You know, they have white mannequins, there's black mannequins, there's Chinese mannequins.
But he's transparent.
Transparent. There's no culture shock.
All right.
You know, at all.
I like that.
Yes, sir.
I like that. So, you know, one of the things that we all would feel a lot better if the hospitals would look into Transmax, if the schools would look into them, because I know some of your patients, some of your students rather, they feel a sense of empowerment.
Yes, sir.
When they actually do compressions on Transmax and they see that they saved a life.
Yes, sir.
That has to give them some kind of sense of
like never before. Because when I was teaching classes before with the standard mannequins that people use, I mean, there was no type of response. You know, like you said, empowerment. But what I learned since I had Transmax out in the field, I'll sit back and watch people. Like, wait a minute, these people are really getting empowered and really putting the effort in doing CPR, and that's so important that they want to see their brain light up. They want to, and it's all about rhythm too. But I don't want to get into that because there's a metronome inside the mannequin too. That you have to compress at the proper rhythm and the proper rate. And like you said earlier, that people get empowered when they're doing CPR and Transmax. It's just, what we're doing is just we're changing how we're learning CPR.
Okay. So, you know, what I'm looking forward to, well, first of all, do you have a website? Or an email address that people can contact you?
They can contact me at onealclash67@gmail.com.
That's ONEAL 67.
No, this I'm sorry. ONEAL
Clash.
Clash, CLASH 67@gmail.com.
At gmail.com. Okay, and I'm sure a lot of people be contacting you. You know, this is something that's phenomenal. I thank you so much.
Okay, yes, sir. Thank you
for
for
coming
having
on.
Okay.
And look forward. We're gonna be looking for you on Shark Tank.
Okay, yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes, sir. And I just wanted to say one thing, that you don't have to be in the medical field to learn CPR. It's a skill. Personally, it's a skill I think that everybody should have. Not just doctors, not just nurses. The average person in the community, a bus driver, everybody should learn how to perform CPR, because heart attacks or cardiac arrest is one of the leading causes of death in America, and there's a lot of people outside the hospital who die because the person or a family member didn't know how to perform CPR.
Now, let me ask you something. You said even bus drivers. Why would it be instrumental for the CTA, RTA, PACE to make sure that they can train all their employees with Transmax? With Transmax, why is it so important for them to do that, to have all their bus drivers trained?
Because unfortunately, we do have a lot of sick people that ride buses.
Okay.
Okay, and like when I used to work in the ER, used to be ER tech, the people that are outside are so important, and they bring them in sick. So there are a lot of sick people outside in the community. And there's many cases where family members have taken my CPR class because they didn't know how to perform CPR. And so they wanted to learn because they lost a loved one. Versus in the city of Seattle, and there's other cities where CPR is a requirement. In order to get your driver's license, you have to have a CPR card in Seattle. And the survival rate in Seattle is very high.
Okay. Well, you know what? I want to thank you once again on the behalf of the Higher Learning Network. Thank you for coming on our show. You've been looking at the Higher Learning Network, learning about Transmax, how to save lives, the 2022 way, not 14, 22 way.
Okay, I like that.
My name is Lawrence Lenoir, your host for the Higher Learning Network. We thank you for viewing, and please continue to watch us. Thank you very much.
Okay.
Latifah, and you're watching ZTV on the Higher Learning Network. Put your hand right.